Shalom everyone, we are back in Kol Torah on Tuesday at noon, and I will take this opportunity again to really thank Jason for doing this live webcast so everyone can look at your iPhones or on your screen, and you can be part of really living Torah, Torat Chaim, alive, to discuss the Parsha for the next few minutes. This Parsha, Parashat Beshalach, we are talking about, or the main points of this Parsha is really the beginning of Exodus. This theoretical and great promise of God to Abraham 400 years prior to Exodus that his descendants are going to be enslaved in Egypt and then God is going to redeem them. It's coming really to fruition and it's coming to reality. And the Jewish people are being sent out, really being like, it's like a divorce. They are being pushed out from Egypt and they are going on their journey. And we'll read about Kriyat Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, and then some of the challenges that the Jewish people had through their journey in the desert. But what I would like to talk to you about today is really the beginning, what I will call the inception of the Jewish people. And there are two verses, two psukim in this parsha that seems to be that at least one of them is not really in the right place, and I will explain what I'm about to say. The Torah describes that when Pharaoh really sent the Jewish people out from Egypt, God had to make a decision. And the decision was regarding to what route, to what pathway God is going to take the Jewish people. And really there were two options. Option number one was through Eretz Plishtim, through the land of Plishtim. And the second way, or the second option, was through the desert. And Hashem decided, I'm not going to take the Jewish people towards Eretz Plishtim, through the land of Plishtim, because I'm afraid that there is going to be a war. There's going to be a battle. And the Jewish people are not ready. Their heart is going to melt, and they will just want to go back to Egypt. So, I will take them around the desert, so when there is no battles, there are no battles, there is no war, there is no terrorism, there is nothing, I will just take them through the desert so they will not have a change of heart to go back to Egypt. And then the Torah says something very interesting. V'chamushim alu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. What does it mean, v'chamushim? So there are many interpretations to the word chamushim that really comes from the word chamesh. Some interpretation says that only 20%, only fifth from the Jewish people really left Egypt. And I really discussed it in my drasha on last Shabbat. But then there is another interpretation that says v'chamushim, meaning they came with arms, with equipment, with weapon. They were ready to fight. So obviously my question is, I don't understand. If they came with equipment, they came with, with Qassams and tanks and artillery and aircrafts and guns and rifles, why were they so afraid, or really why God was so afraid that if they will go through Eretz Plishtim, through the land of Plishtim, that was, by the way, closer to the land of Israel, why God was so concerned that they are going to have a change of heart and they would love to go back to Egypt? If they were equipped as an army, what was the problem? Question number one. The second question is that the following verse, after this description, that the Jewish people went out from Egypt with arms, with weapons, the Torah says, Vayikach Moshe et atzmot Yosef imo, that Moshe took Joseph's bones with him. Because as we remember, before Joseph died, he made his brothers to take an oath that they will take his bones back to Israel when the redemption will take place. And obviously the question is, what's the connection, what's the link? What's the relationships between this verse that Moshe took Joseph's bones to the fact that the Jewish people were equipped with weapons and weaponry upon leaving Egypt? I would like to suggest to you the following idea. When we talk about a war, when we talk about a battlefield, when we talk about going to fight, we're not talking only about the equipment that we have. We're not talking only about, how sophisticated is the weapon that we have. When I was in the army, there was like a big line on the wall of our dormitory, if you can call it a dormitory. And it says, לא הטנק הוא שמנצח, אלא האדם שבטנק. It's not the tank that wins the war, it's the man in the tank. It's the spirit that you have. It's the faith that you have. It's the commitment and the determination that you have. And it's so true. It obviously was proven in all the wars that the Jewish people had to fight, especially since the establishment of the State of Israel. There's no question. All our enemies outnumbered us. They had better equipment, many, many times, and obviously more than what we had. But still we won with God's help and with our determination and commitment and passion in what we believe in. In order to win a war, you need much more than just good equipment. You need to have faith. And that's what the Jewish people were lacking at that specific moment. When you look at Joseph, so many years before the redemption, he told his brothers, it's 210 or 400 years, it depends on the calculation, prior to Exodus, God is going to take us out from here. And you take my bones. Look at the faith that Joseph had. The enslavement really didn't start, and he's already talking about what? The redemption that will take place hundreds of years later. That's Joseph. But he built his faith. He built his faith through a lot of tribulations and afflictions and suffering, in jail, being sold as a slave, being chased by Potiphar. But he built his faith till he could say to his brothers, I'm sure God is going to help us and is going to take us out of here, and you take my bones. The Jewish people, on the other hand, even though they had all these weapons and equipment that they took upon leaving Egypt, they were missing one of the most important ingredients in order to fight. Emunah, faith, belief. And God in a way proved to them, look, weapons is great and you need to have it, but you first need to build your faith. And with faith and weapons, you will win the battle. And I think it's a great message to us, especially to the state of Israel. With God's help, we became an unbelievable country. Advanced technologically, militarily, economically. But we need to progress and to build and to maintain and to develop our faith, our emunah. And with everything that we have and emunah, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. So let's all get stronger with our faith and accomplish everything we wish. Thank you.